Just waiting for everybody to come on. So yeah, I'm gonna be looking into February's energy. It is the 31st still where I'm at, but I thought I would do this. And so everybody come in. I'm just going to say that the snow moon's energy is already upon us. And because the snow moon energy is coming, like it's just come, it's coming at the divine feminine and divine masculine. So what I mean by that is that again there is deep purging going on with the twins at the moment, and that deep purging is causing um a shift in consciousness for many, both divine feminine and divine masculine. So yes, but I will be going into snow moon. Um, yeah, I'll be going into how the snow moon is going to affect in the stream as well, because the snow moon's pretty big. Like again, it's a very auspicious full moon, and it's meant to liberate both divine feminine and divine masculine at a soul level. Again, deep inner child trauma is coming up for the twins right now, and because of that, there is a lot of anxiety in the collective right now. The old identity is falling away, and because the old identity is falling away, that means that this new yeah that means that both the divine feminine and divine masculine are being required to really work on the nervous system right now in order to anchor in this new change, so to say. So I'm going to say, so what? Let me see. I'm just waiting for the others to come in. Wait, why are the others not coming in? How do you share this? Just waiting. How do I share this? Oh, there it is. Um, hang on. Yes. No, I'm not Native American. Let's see. Yeah. Hey, what's up? Hey, someone's showing up. Yeah. Hello. We're just gonna wait for other people to show up. Um. Hey, what's up, Val? What's up? So I got two people here, so let me start with the February forecast. So, like I said, the snow moon is affecting the divine feminine and divine masculine already. And I'm going to tell you exactly how. So, I'm going to say that you, divine feminine, are releasing a lot of rejection and abandonment trauma right now. Some of you may be feeling highly triggered, and this is because you are letting go of a lot of self limiting beliefs about love, and this is really pushing you into that state of the unconditional love. So what you're really doing right now is that you're letting go of that old narrative. And the snow moon is going to be bringing up a lot of trauma related to the inner child. And as she ends up as the divine feminine lets go of that pain from the past, as she ends up expanding in the heart space, she ends up feeling this sense of relief. Like I said, the snow moon is really bringing up all that is false. So many divine feminines are really experiencing the rejection and the abandonment trauma coming up really strongly. And this is really causing the divine feminine to engage in fear based thinking. So, as fear based thinking comes up for the divine feminine to tackle, the divine feminine starts to see just how they were not trusting love before. And like I said, the snow moon is exposing all that is not of love. Anything that causes the divine feminine to waver in her um faith is coming up to be cleared. So some divine feminists right now are really experiencing the snow moon really shaking up the old foundation. Anything fear based must go. And that's happening because the divine feminine is being advised to really trust the process right now. Some divine feminines do want to throw in a towel, but that's because they're in a state of resistance. They're in a state of resistance and are trying to force an outcome. But right now the divine feminine really needs to trust. So control blocks are going to be cleared in early February. So if you're resisting the process right now, the divine is saying that you're going to be clearing control blocks. So I feel as though some towers are going to be coming in early February for divine feminine. If the divine feminine is resistant, if she's still engaged in a fear-based thinking, because this is meant to shake up her internal reality. This is meant to really have her release the programming and conditioning that kept her in survival mode. The divine feminine is being advised to again really trust the process right now, because as she lets go of those um those subconscious beliefs that tell her that she's not prioritized, she's not chosen. The divine feminine, again, like jumps timelines. So I feel as though early February will be all about letting go of that old timeline. Again, many of you are quantum leaping yet again. Divine feminine has quantum leap a total of 3 times in these past couple weeks, and she's going to experience another quantum leap around the 5th or the 6th. I feel as though the divine feminine is going to be letting go of the old version of herself that abandoned and neglected herself. A lot of the divine feminists are going to be really focused on self care around early February. And because of that, this is pushing the divine feminine to really, again, love self, to really um, come home to herself. I feel as though a lot of the divine feminines are going to be feeling some pain in relation to the wound of separation. The wound of separation is going to be cleared from the 4th to the 8th. And there's going to be a lot more rejection and abandonment trauma coming up for divine feminine as well. It is going to be very heavy, especially if you're a fixed sign, because as you let go of that baggage that keeps you from trusting love, the divine feminine is really, again, opening up her heart space and allowing for the divine to guide her and lead her. Because again, she is letting go of all that is not of love so that she can rise from the ashes as her most empowered self. So I'm going to be saying this about divine feminine. She is really letting go of those narratives that she has around being not prioritized and chosen. She's really healing that fear of not being enough around the 6th to the 9th. And this is really going to push the divine feminine to really not abandon and reject herself. She's really going to be focused on being in her highest self and no longer dimming her own light in order to keep people. Let me go into mid February. Mid February is going to be brutal. Mid February is going to be brutal because um Mercury is going into a shadow period around this time, and Mercury is going to be mucking things up. Um, and so, what I mean by that is that the divine feminine is going to be really going deep into the subconscious mind around this time. Past life and ancestral trauma will be worked on heavily around this time. And again, this is coming up so that the divine feminine can really let go of the fear based thinking that kept her in survival mode, that kept her in um the state of fear. Again, the more the divine feminine lets go of these particular triggers, the more she's really going to be stepping into her power. I also see that the divine feminine is going to be feeling the Newman and Aquarius really like cranking up a notch around this time. Again, the Newman Aquarius is going to really be transformative as well. The divine feminine is going to be letting go of around that pain around trusting her heart, the pain she has around trusting her intuition. So what I mean by pain is that it's gaslighting trauma, and also it has to do with intuition blocks. I see the divine feminine's intuition is going to be really strengthened around this time, and this is going to really help her to gain a better understanding what is going on. So I feel as though again the past life clearing and the ancestral trauma clearing is really going to reprogram the divine feminine to step out of the masculine woman template and to really be in her femininity. And I do see again the more the divine feminine ends up letting go of that survival mode, the more she will be in her natural energy. So this is what the divine feminine is really being advised to do right now, to really be in that state of flow, to really go with the flow at around this time, because there's going to be a lot of deep seated trauma that goes back past lives, goes back to ancestral trauma, and a lot of limited beliefs are going to be let go around this time. I also see that the divine feminine is going to be receiving movement when it comes to like something she's been waiting on. Maybe it's like a house, maybe like maybe a new job. Again, I feel as though new beginnings are coming for the divine feminine right now, where she is going to be stepping into his highest timeline. And I do see the reason why that is happening is because the divine is really pushing the divine feminine to really be in her highest timeline. So again, it's really helping the divine feminine to really let go of her attachment to the old timeline. And I do see the divine feminine is really going to be letting go of a lot of emotional um pain in relation to the divine masculine. Again, you're going to have heartbreak that come up from past lifetimes around this time. You're going to be experiencing a lot of anger. You're going to be experiencing a lot of um sadness, and all of this is purging out so that your love will strengthen and intensify. So I feel as though the divine feminine is going to be going through some massive growing pains, especially around the 15th and the 16th. She is going to be forced to let go that whole timeline um completely. This is going for all divine feminines, regardless of where you are on the journey. Because again, something has to end, and something is ending, so that the divine feminine can actually um, integrate herself into the brand new timeline. Like I said, many divine feminines are going to be quantum leaping around this time, and that is because the divine is bringing in a new version of the twin flame connection. Again, more on that right now. So yeah, let me go into late February. So late February is going to be even more emotionally up tumultuous than mid February, and that's because Mercury's getting closer and closer to going into um is retrograde. So I feel as though the divine feminine is going to be really letting go of a lot of trauma around the inner teenager around this time, and she is going to be really redefining what she believes about love. She is letting go of those limited beliefs that caused her not to trust in the process. So as she lets go those false beliefs about the divine, the false beliefs about love, she is opening her heart space even more. So I feel as though the divine feminine is really going to be feeling a lot of um repressed emotions come up around this time. And as she releases these repressed emotions, I feel as though she's going to have many breakthroughs about where she's still not trusting love, where she's still not trusting the process. And this is going to push the divine feminine to really step into her highest timeline. Again, there's an emphasis on the highest timeline right now for the divine feminine because again, February is stripping away everything that is sound of love so that the divine feminine can again anchor in her highest timeline. So the more the divine feminine ends up letting go of these false beliefs, the more she would get more clarity about where she's holding herself back. I feel as though the divine feminine is also going to be going through heart chakra and solar plexus chakra activations around this time. This is going to cause her to release some deep pain in her gut. I feel many divine feminines will be purging around this time constantly, especially around the 25th to the 28th. I feel as though this is because the divine is, again, removing everything that is not of love so that the divine feminine could, again, step into her power without shame, without guilt. I also see that the rejection moon is going to be coming up very strongly and um late February for the divine feminine. And this is because the divine is going to show the divine feminine where she's still rejecting herself, where she's still not trusting love, where she's still letting fear deter her from really being in her truth. And the divine feminine is going to be experiencing a lot of like emotional upheaval. And this is because again her foundation is being swept away so that she can be in her truth, so that she can be in her highest timeline. So I'm just gonna say that late February is going to be very emotionally heavy. Like I mean, even like tuning to the energy, I am getting a freaking headache, and this is going. It is because it is an overwhelming purging going on for divine feminines. Again, I see a lot of purging for divine feminine happening around this time, around the rejection wound in an inner teenager. Some of you are going to be thinking about people from your adolescence that you haven't thought of for a while. You might actually have you might actually have pain like from heartbreak or pain from being rejected come up about people you haven't thought of in a very long time. And this is meant to actually happen so that you can reclaim your power, divine feminine, and really step into your dark feminine. I feel as though there will be a focus on the dark feminine that will continue into March. Again, the divine feminine is again flushing away everything that keeps her in people pleasing, that keeps her from choosing herself. She is really stepping into her dark feminine without apology, without shame. And I feel as though as her light feminine becomes more balanced with her dark feminine, she is no longer taking rain checks on being given a bare minimum. She is no longer taking rain checks on being secondary. The divine feminine is knowing her worth, and she is no longer assigning a price tag to it. She is again recovering all the lost parts of herself so that she can emerge as her new and highest self. That's what I get for divine feminine. So let me go into divine masculine. Okay, now the headache's going away. So for divine masculine, um, early February is going to be marked by the snow moon. The snow moon starts on the first, and I feel as though the snow moon is really going to be bringing up rejection and abandonment trauma for the divine masculine. Many divine masculines are going to be very emotionally volatile around the snow moon in the days after. They are going to be releasing a lot of anger and grief that they never actually processed from childhood and adolescence. So this is going to make the divine masculine really, really cranky, I guess you could say. And it's meant to, because the divine masculine is really releasing these repressed emotions so that he can stand in his truth. And the divine masculine is really being called to be brutally honest with himself around this time. And I do see there will be a corresponding tower moment for the divine masculine around the second and the third. I already picked up a tower moment goal coming in for divine feminine. Divine masculine will be having a tower moment to actually shift in consciousness as well. For the divine masculines that are more fear based, there is going to be a lot of resistance blocks and control blocks coming up for divine masculine too, and that is because the divine is really going to make them move out of ego consciousness. The more they move out of ego consciousness, the more the divine masculine feels more, um, the divine more, yes, but also more connected to his own soul. And I feel as though the divine masculine is really going to be unlearning that need to keep the peace, unlearning that need to be liked, and as he reprograms his subconscious mind to be okay with standing out, with being okay with being seen as too much, this is going to cause him really to be releasing a lot of anger. It is going to be very emotionally volatile for the divine masculine. Some of you are going to have the divine mute the connection because they want to spare you from feeling the agony. Again, this is why divine feminines are being called to focus on themselves, because again, February is going to be emotionally ugly for divine masculine. Again, I'm seeing a lot of deep crime for divine masculine. I'm seeing many divine masculines actually having emotional breakdowns. And this is because they're purging such deep pain from their body. And I feel as though this is happening so that the divine masculine can really, again, lead from truth rather than from fear. So again, the divine masculine is going to be really differentiating between what is truth and what is fear. I'm seeing a lot of unlearning about who they taught him to be and more stepping into his truth as a result. So I'm seeing around the 6th and the 7th, the divine masculine is going to be really purging a lot of past life trauma related to abandonment and rejection by the divine feminine's hand. Again, I do see a lot of divine masculines will be angry at divine feminine, but not because she did something wrong. It's because he is feeling the pain of her leaving him in these particular past lives, and he is being called to really feel that. I do see the divine masculines who do transmute this is are going to experience a shift and realize just where they were abandoning themselves, where they were not trusting love. And I feel also again as the divine masculine ends up gaining that clarity about where he needs to choose himself, this is going to push the divine masculine to really step into his power without guilt, without shame. Hey Sai. Um so again, many divine masculines are going to be really tearing down that old foundation, whether they want to or not. So again, this is because the divine is again preparing the divine masculine to really make a quantum leap. So this is the end of the early February. Let me go into mid February. Mid February will be really brutal for divine masculine, and that's because I think Mercury's already in his shadow period around this time, and again, there's going to be a lot of past life trauma and past life trauma and ancestral trauma around codependency that's going to be released around this time. And the more this is released from the divine masculine's energy, the more the divine masculine sees how they were codependent on the divine feminine. Again, I do see the divine masculine having some massive realizations where he is not trusting love. And the more he lets go of those particular beliefs that love is not safe, that love is hard, that love is painful, the more he's going to see how he's he was breaking his own heart by his own hand. And so this is what the divine masculine is going to really open his eyes about that self betrayal that he's been dealing himself by trying to think of divine feminine, by thinking what was best for her. But I feel as though what's going on is that the divine masculine is going to realize the distortions in that own thinking. He's going to see where he was abandoning and neglecting himself, where he was not exactly acting from integrity. And a lot of divine masculines are going to have that shift, and they're going to actually realize that, again, not only do they need to show up more, they also have to be more emotionally authentic. So I do see a lot of heart chakra releasing being done from the divine masculine around mid-February. I feel many divine masculines will be ugly crying as well. They're going to be flushing out the remnants of a broken heart, whether it's from past lives, whether it's from this lifetime. They're going to feel that heartbreak so acutely that they're going to doubt whether they even transmuted. Again, they're really getting to the root of this heartbreak. They are really transmuting this deep pain so that they can trust love. And so this is what the divine masculine is really working on. He has been diligently working on expanding his heart space. And I do feel like in mid February he'll be tired of this constant purging. But I feel as though it is around the 18th where he will be feeling more heart centered, where he will be feeling more at ease with the process. And so I feel as though as he heals those resistant blocks, he ends up stepping into his highest timeline. I see the divine masculine quantum leaping around the 19th or the 20th. So this is what I get for late February. Late February will be just as emotionally heavy as um, mid February, if not more. I feel as though the portal around this time and followed by the new moon in Aquarius is really going to push the divine masculine to really let go of his attachment to his old reality. And so this means whether his karmic situation or maybe it even means his toxic family unit. But I feel as though he's going to be making a lot of changes internally as he becomes more warm to the idea that love is not a transaction, that the people that who should care for him should really want his best interest in his heart. The divine masculine is going to be going through a consciousness expansion, and he's going to be letting go of a lot of outdated beliefs about family, about love. He's going to see what he has permitted by dimming his own light. He's going to see how he was holding himself back because he didn't want to lose anyone. And I feel as though the divine masculine is really going to be working on rejection and abandonment around this time too, but with the divine feminine. And this is going to really show him where he was breaking his own heart, where he was keeping himself silent for the sake of keeping the peace. And I feel as though divine masculine will be putting his foot down, and he's like, no more. I see a lot of masculines really coming out of hermit mode around this time and taking swift action. Many divine masculines are going to be letting go of situations that no longer serve you. Them. Some of them may even let go of their karmic situation. But again, there is some type of ending that's going on for divine masculine around this time, and a new beginning is going to be happening. So I feel as the divine masculine is really preparing himself to really jump into this brand new timeline. And the more the divine masculine does that, the more the divine masculine sees that he was letting his pain not he was letting his pain um I guess he was letting sorry, I just had a thought right now. He was letting his pain keep him from really, again, trusting love. The divine master is going to see that in some cases he still does not trust love. And again, he's going to be really working on opening up that heart. And the more he opens up the heart, the more the divine masculine really lets go of what no longer serves him. And that's what I get for the end of February for divine masculine. So does anybody have any questions? Um so yes. Oh, you completely got distracted? So yeah. Yes. Sorry, you don't have any questions? What about you, Bridget, Myra, Val? Sorry. Oh my god. Um. Yeah. Yes, I was watching the movie and totally forgot that you're going to stream. Yeah. Yeah. You totally forgot. Don't worry, I'm not offended. Um. Yes. Yeah, so I'm glad. At least you remember. I think you're probably meant to hear the DN's part, but you have the DF on the replay. So yeah. With that being said, it looks like that I don't. Um, it looks like that this will be it. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you another time. Namaste. So